It is finally time to make the long-awaited sourdough video that I have been promising all of my friends since forever. I start with some hot water from my Keurig, and then I add room temperature water to create a nice warm water, and this is going to help our dough ferment throughout the day. I then add my starter that I fed last night. I'm doing this first thing in the morning. I will whisk it together with my bread whisk, and then I will put it in my stand mixer and add my salt. I like to use King Arthur's unbleached bread flour for my bread and King Arthur's unbleached all-purpose flour to feed my starter. I slowly add my bread flour to my stand mixer until it creates a shaggy ball, and then I will flour a surface and transfer that dough to that powdered surface in order to finish working it by hand. Once I dump this out, there's still quite a bit left in the bottom of the bowl, so I'll use this tool to scrape everything out and put it right on top of that dough ball. I then use some extra virgin olive oil on my gloves to keep it from sticking to the dough, and I will begin to incorporate the rest of that flour while I do some stretch and folds. I then use that same oil and I will quickly oil a bowl and put that in there to rest and do its first rise. 3 hours later, I will do my first stretch and fold. After the first 3 hours, she will not have risen very much, but the dough is still very much warm, so that tells me that it is fermenting. I will put that back and wait another 3 hours. After the second ferment, she is definitely much fluffier and smelling a lot more like sourdough. She's also thinned out quite a bit, which tells me that the wild yeast is definitely doing its job and eating all of those sugars in the flour. I'll do a quick stretch and fold and put her back to rest for 3 more hours. After that, I will go ahead and dump her out, and I will section this out into 3 separate loaves. I'm trying not to pull on this too much because I do want it to be delicate enough to stretch, but I do want to stretch it a little bit just to kind of build that gluten. I then add some fresh chopped jalapenos and some extra sharp cheddar cheese if you want that flavor. I roll all of that together and I create a little bit of a ball, and I will set that to the side and grab a banneton and set it over it while I do my other loaves and wait for 15 minutes to let those rest. I then do my final shaping, and I will put some flour on the top of this loaf. I like to use quite a bit to keep it from sticking to my banneton and tearing that top layer. Once that's in there, I'm going to pinch the bottom to create some surface tension and also keep any of those delicious ingredients from escaping. And then I will let those rest on the counter for another hour and rise. After that, I'll do one more pinch of the bottom to create some surface tension, and I will take these little oven liners and just roll that loaf right onto there. I love these silicone air fryer liners, and I use those as an extra kind of protection for the bottom of my bread loaf to keep it from getting burnt or getting too tough, because these are going to be in there for 45 minutes. I then make my little cuts on the top to allow it to rise, and you can do pretty designs or you can just make some slits, really dealer's choice. I made 2 jalapeno cheddar loaves and a cinnamon brown sugar loaf. I then preheat my oven to 450 degrees with my Dutch ovens inside so that they are getting nice and hot as well. I will lower my breads carefully in there, making sure that these are sticking out the sides, and I will add a bit of water to the outside of that silicone liner, and that's going to create our steam. Then I'm going to put those in there and set a timer for 30 minutes. After that goes off, we are going to take our first look at these loaves They are looking so delicious, but they're not done yet. They still have 15 minutes left. So I will take those lids off, let them bake for another 15 minutes to get nice and crispy on top, and look at how delicious these look. Let me know what you think in the comments.